Hey there, y'all. It's Monica. I know that I haven't been on YouTube in years, but I'm back. You have to forgive the way I look. I really don't care, to be honest. But I just thought I'd come and start doing some more videos about what I'm up to in my life. And right now, what I'm up to is gardening. So I have started a little, I guess what you would call a balcony garden. And I'm just going to kind of document what it is I'm doing. I am a brand new gardener, so I have made all kinds of mistakes. But I want to encourage people to start their own gardens in the little bit of space you might have. If you have a lot of space, then utilize all the space that you have. If you don't, and you're like me and you have minimal amounts of outdoor space, then do what you can. But it's very important for us to be more self-sufficient than we have been raised to be, or most of us, what our society teaches us, going to the grocery store, buying our food. It's much more nutritious if we grow our own food. We have control over what goes into our food. You don't have to just go to the store and buy food that's covered in pesticides and fungicides and all the sides. Hey, if I can grow mine organically without any sides, then that's better. Plus, you can grow varieties that your local stores don't carry, and you can get different flavors and more nutrition with each and every vegetable or fruit that you grow. So let's get into what I'm doing. I'll talk a little bit about some of the mistakes I've made, what I've done to correct those mistakes, which I'm sure are not the way that I should have corrected those mistakes, but this is all trial by error. I knew that this year was going to be a total learning for me. I had said when I started this, if I made one salad and I could eat one salad from lettuce I grew myself, that I would be satisfied. I've put a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money into this, but it is an investment because I'm learning what I'm doing. Next year, Yah willing, He gives me another year, I will be much better, hopefully, at producing than I am this year. So let's see if I can get this camera turned around and show you what I got going on this little balcony garden. Alright, so I just kind of want to give you a little brief overview of what I've got going on, just show you the layout. So let me turn around. This is the inside of my home. There's my poo-poo head. Say hi, poo-poo head. No, you're not going to say hi today? Maddie, say hi. Alright, forget it. He's not saying hi. So, as you can see, that's my next door neighbor's balcony. And here we go. I've got two pots over here. I have a fabric raised bed. I was insistent on having a fabric raised bed because one day I want to have land and I would like to grow in raised beds, so I wanted to get the experience of that. And then over here I have 3 pots, and this is just a container with some soil. But as you can see, I have room where I can put 2 more pots here, and then over here I can put 1 more fabric pot, and that's what I think I'm going to do. So I think I'm going to purchase 3 more of the fabric pots. The pots that I purchased are by, I think they're called, a company called iPower Grow. And the fabric raised bed is one of the the name is totally slipping my mind right now. Smart Pots. The Smart Pots fabric raised beds. I found a website that had a really good deal on them. They come in 6 foot, 8 foot, and 12 foot lengths. This here is the 8 foot length, and with the 8 foot length, you get 8 separate sections. They do have these little dividers in between the sections, which just helps it to stand up. I got this idea from a YouTuber that I watch. I watch a lot of gardening YouTubers since I decided to do this, but her name is Callie Kim, and a couple years ago she did a small space garden series, and she used one of these fabric raised bed. She had a 6-foot one. I decided to go with the 8-foot. I did not use smart pots for the regular grow bags. I found a much better deal with these iPower grow bags, and so far I'm really enjoying the grow bags. I like that they have the handles. And if you're looking to do this, you might want to go to Callie Kim's site. I don't have any affiliation with her at all. I just thought that her Small Space Garden series was very informative if you're looking to do this and you just have no idea what to do. So she had the idea of putting the tarp underneath the bag so that you're not dripping water on your neighbors downstairs, and putting some kind of plastics underneath the bag so that, once again, you are not waterlogging your downstairs neighbors if you are on a balcony like myself. Now, if you're on a patio, that's different. All right, so why don't we get into what I'm growing, my issues, my mistakes, and all that. All right, so over here I've got some green peas growing. As you can see, I got pretty good germination on these. I do believe that I'm going to thin these out. I think I just have too many plants in one container. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the ones on the outsides, and I'm just going to leave the ones on the inside. Even though this one is a baby one and it's not coming up as good as maybe that outer one, and I should keep the outer one, I really want to try and keep them inside of the tomato ring. I don't know if the tomato ring is going to be the way to do things. This is what I could afford at the moment. I do believe I'm going to start doing some more research on trellising, maybe getting some bamboo trellising for them to climb up. One of the mistakes I made with these is I started everything indoors. And I should show you guys what I did. I decided to start all my seeds indoors. When I started the seeds originally, I did not know what I was doing. I just planted some seeds. I was really excited about starting gardening. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I had a lot of issues. The plants got super leggy. I didn't have enough sunlight, and I had to quickly figure something out. So I got these grow lights. I was able to purchase 2 lights. You can find people who will explain what kind of lights you need to purchase, but I decided to go with 2 of them, and I decided to buy a rack and create a grow light system, which I found all that information on YouTube as well. Right now, I love it because I can keep all of my fertilizing stuff, my planting stuff, my watering cans, everything on this rack until I get more lights. So this is going to be like my seed germination station is what I'm calling it. And in the winter time when I'm not germinating seeds, what I plan to do is try to grow microgreens so I can have food going all year round. So I have some goals. I was at a place the other day that gave away free books, and I found this book, which I'm really excited about, the America's Garden book. It's a pretty old book, but it was free. Can't beat it. I'm in a small space, so I have like this teeny tiny little shovel I bought. I probably should have just got a full-size shovel. I probably will at some point. But, you know, you do what you can. With the grow lights, I do have them on a timer, so they come on and go off at certain times so that I can get my seeds germinating. I ended up having to replant some seeds because I started them way too early. The frost didn't break here in the Chicagoland area. It was a mess. I have all kinds of seeds. I have seeds in this container here, all the seeds that I've planted outside, and I've gone and bought some more seeds. So this pack of seeds here with the cucumbers, Grand Rapids lettuce, yellow squash, mustard, spinach. Oh, get out of here. I bought some mustard, spinach, tender greens. I have some of these growing in the garden right now that I got in a musculin mix, and I love them. I'm so glad I have a pack. Anyways, you can see these were like 50-cent seed packs, 20-cent seed packs. So even though I don't have the space to grow them at the moment, I was like, buy them because, I mean, sweet corn for 50 cents. I mean, I know it's not organic and that corn is a hybrid. Darn it, I didn't realize it was a hybrid, which means I can't harvest seed from it. But that's all right. It was 50 cents and it's going to produce some food. And I don't have a real yard yet. One day I will. and I'll be able to utilize things a little bit better. But all these are just seeds that I bought and I haven't planted. All these are seeds that I have planted. Yeah, but just to show you a little bit about what I got going on here in my little setup. Yeah, so I really didn't know what I was doing when I started the seeds, and so there's been a lot of trial and a lot of error. I started the peas indoors. It was a hot mess. They are all gone. I had to throw them away, and I planted these straight into the soil outside. As you can see, there's a little bit of light getting to them now. As far as I know, peas don't like to get really, really hot. It's been super weird, the weather here in the Chicagoland area. Some days it's burning up hot in the 80s. Then the next day it's like in the 60s. So all my plants seem to be holding on. I don't know what kind of production I'll get with this crazy weather. But yeah, so I replanted them and I got that one growing there. And, you know, hopefully it'll get big and it'll flower and produce some beans for me, or some peas for me. I started growing some inside, and I had some peas, but they were no good. So we're trying outside now. Over here I have a Sweet 10 cherry tomato plant. I did buy this plant at the garden center near me where I got all my soil. I wasn't originally going to try for tomatoes or anything that needed high sun, because when I started this, the sun barely hit my balcony. But I didn't think about the fact that the sun changes positions, and that's how it gets brighter. And now I get a lot more sun than I originally did, so I thought I'd go for it. They were 3 plants in a pack when I purchased them, and I had planted all 3 in this container and realized that was not going to work. So I literally dug up all 3 and replanted one, the one that I thought looked the best. I have it in a tomato cage. I don't know how good that's going to be. If I'm correct, this is an indeterminate tomato. Considering it's indeterminate, if it does well, it's going to get really big. This thing has sprouted. It is much bigger than it was when I originally started this. So I don't think this tomato cage is going to work. I think I'm going to have to stake it. I don't know anything about staking plants. I'm researching that now. All right. Here I've got some beans. I can't tell you what kind of beans. They look like they're yellowing out. I really, really, really need to fertilize this garden. But it's been raining consistently. I was using liquid fertilizer. It's been a mess mixing my own. But I found another gardener, M.I. Gardener, and he's got his own, I guess you would call it proprietary. I don't know. He's got his own blend of fertilizer. I've heard nothing but wonderful things about it. It's called Trifecta Plus. Once again, no affiliation with M.I. Gardener. I just think he has wonderful, informative videos. He's in Michigan. I'm in Chicago. We have kind of the same growing environment. So I like watching him and seeing what he can grow and how he grows it, because I figure we've got similar weather as opposed to Callie Kim, who's in California, and she's got much warmer weather, so I can take gardening tips from her. But when it comes to weather and stuff, my gardener is more the way I like to go, or M.I. Gardener, not my gardener. Anyway, so I've got these beans in here. I planted 5 of them. I did 4 outside and then 1 on the inside. I think you can see that little baby that's popping up there. This one's not doing so good. I'm going to pull him out. I'm not going to let him go. I'm going to thin out this area. And when that middle one pops up, I'm pulling him out, and I'm just going to leave the 3 stalks. I feel like they're already so close together, and I think 3 plants will be enough. I don't know if they're in too close proximity to one another. So, you know, I don't know. It's all experimental. I'm going to learn a lot from this. All right, in this bed also, if you can see here, I've got some red onions that I just sporadically planted throughout here because I bought those and I had no idea what I was doing. I actually had them in this side part of the bed, and they came like 3 clumps, and I planted the clumps all together. And then I was watching a video on the M.I. Gardener channel, and he mentioned that they needed to be separated, and I freaked out like, oh my God, I planted them in clumps. So I had to come and pull all the onions up. I had like 3 clumps here, here, and here. I pulled them all up. I separated them out, and I just randomly planted them wherever I could fit them within this garden bed. So I don't know if I'm going to get any onion production whatsoever from these sporadically placed plants. A A couple of them have already died out, like right here I had one that just got all soft and pulled right out. But some of these look like they're doing all right, so we'll see. Here I've got a red bell pepper plant, and there I've got a orange bell pepper plant, and then over there I have a green bell pepper plant. All these pepper plants I got from the nursery as well, because like I said, I wasn't planning on growing anything that needed high sun. I was looking for, you know, more low sun plants. Oh, okay, I got something flying around me. And these had 4 plants per pack, and I actually had planted all 4 for the peppers in this little area, like all next to each other. And then some of them started getting these weird brown spots on the leaves. Actually, this leaf over here looks like it might be getting some of those brown spots on it. I don't know if you can see that. I may have to harvest that leaf off, pluck that off. But I dug them all up. I saved the plants that didn't have the spots all over the leaves, which I think I read somewhere it was like pepper spot blight, or I can't remember the name of it, but it's some kind of disease that is attacking pepper plants. It took down a lot of crops in 2015. But I've looked at various ways to try and tackle that problem. I'm going to take that bottom leaf off for sure, because I feel like I'm seeing something happening there and I have enough foliage to keep it going. But as you can see, I actually have some little peppers that are coming on, but this is another one of those things where I really screwed up. I had 4 plants in this area. I had 4 plants in this area. I had 4 plants in the other pot. I dug them all up and I re-put these in there. So they don't look like they're having an issue with transplant shock. They are actually growing since I replanted them. I did that, maybe 3 days ago, where I pulled them up, put them back down. Same with the tomato plant. So just so you see some of the issues that I had, I really overplanted the tomatoes, the peppers. The peas should have never been started indoors. I started the beans indoors. They all died on me, so I had to bring them outside. I've overplanted again, most likely. The onions I planted in bunches. I didn't know they needed to be separated. I had to pull those up and replant them. I've had a lot of issues, but I'm overcoming. All right, back here I've got carrots. As you can see, I've got germination happening in my carrot patch, as I'm going to call it. I had started carrot seedlings inside too, and there's never going to be a carrot from those. I actually transplanted them into the garden. All I had was carrot tops, huge carrot tops that were shading out the carrots that I was trying to grow here and falling over onto my onions. So I pulled those up 2 days ago, and I just reseeded more carrot seed in here. So eventually I'm going to get some more carrot seed germination in this bed. But you can see my little carrot coming through, and they are getting big really fast. I'm hoping I'll have some carrots. I'm sure that these are planted too close to each other. As they come up, I start to try and thin them out some. But I don't know anything about spacing. I mean, like I said, this is all experimental. In the front here, I have some Paris Island Cause lettuce. Callie Kim raved about this lettuce, so I found some at the garden center. I did not start these from seed. I did buy these at the garden center, just the 3 of them, and I planted those in the garden. And they are actually growing very well. I really need to get out here and fertilize this garden, but I've got to get some better fertilizer. The liquid fertilizer is not going to work because all it does is rain here. So I think that Trifecta Plus is going to be wonderful because it's more granular. I can just mix it into the soil and let the rain disperse it, because adding more water to get the liquid feed in here is going to be horrible this season because it's just so darn rainy. All right, over here we've got some lettuce. I bought some lettuce mix and some mesclun mix. So these lettuces here, this one here, and these 2 here, this one here, and this one here, all came from my lettuce mix. I started all those seeds indoors, and I was able to harvest some lettuce from indoor. Let me get this way you can see a little bit better what I got going on here. Yeah, so I was able to harvest some leaves indoors, but once I got them outside, they really started to flourish. This one here, I didn't even know what it looked like. It was just a mess in the house, and I kept on trying to eat it. It didn't taste very good. This one was a mess in the house too. And now that we're outside and they're getting what they need, they're doing amazing. Now these over here are Merlot leaf lettuce. I know exactly what these are because I bought these at the garden center and they were doing horribly as well. I don't know. They looked really good at the garden center. I brought them home and got them under the grow lights. They started doing terrible. Now we're back out in the garden and now they're in this beautiful red color. They're starting to have some more consistency to the leaves, so I'm really excited about that. Back here I've got some Brussels sprouts. I started those from seed in the house. So a lot of these that I started from seed in the house, I don't know, they don't seem to be doing so well. I have 4 of them here next to each other. I probably planted them way too densely for Brussels sprouts. But I just found out that Brussels sprouts need a really, really long growing season. So I'm actually really glad that I started the seeds indoors. I hate that they're a hybrid. So if they produce anything or they go to, and I let them go to seed, I cannot collect the seed because I don't know what I'll get considering it's a hybrid. I really don't like the idea of growing hybrids now that I'm learning more about seeds. I want to be able to harvest my seeds, and with hybrids you just don't know what you're going to get. So I'm going to probably hit up the My Gardener website when I get the Trifecta Plus and see what kind of seeds he's got. He sells seeds for $1 a pack. Wow, that's amazing. And he collects all the seeds from plants that he grows. Just can't wait to start getting more into this gardening. All right, over here in this portion of the bed in the back here, I've got some kale growing. You can see my lovely kale leaf here. My kale's starting to get nice and big. I started this indoors and it just was not doing good indoors. You can see some of these bottom leaves, the older leaves just are small and yellowy and not so great. But the leaves that have sprouted since they've been outside are big and they're getting prolific and beautiful. Once I get some more fertilizer in here, I think they're going to green up really nicely. I am actually really, really excited about the way that kale is looking. I mean, my kale just... oh, it makes me so happy. Sometimes it looks really wilted, like in the heat of the day, and then I'll come out later on at night, and it just looks gorgeous and full, and I mean, I don't know what it's supposed to really look like, but I'm very proud of my kale. All right, in the middle here, I planted broccoli. The broccoli is a mess. This leaf just keeps on slapping over into this garden here. But the broccoli, I feel like I planted way too much in this bed. But these are all cruciferous vegetables, if I'm saying that right. So I thought I'd put them all in one bed. I don't know if that broccoli is going to produce any heads. I don't know what's going on. But you know, trial by error, you learn. So I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 broccolis right here in the middle. So I got kale in the back, broccoli in the middle. And then in the front, I bought some collard greens from the garden center. I did not start these from seed, but huge mistake I think I made here. So I planted them in the front, and there were 3 in the pack, so 1, 2, and 3. But this one is looking this one is looking very different from these. And then this one started putting up like a flower, so I looked online. I thought they were all collards, so I thought that this one was a collard that was bolting. But now that I look at it, if I stand up and come this way, maybe you can see the difference between this one here and this one here. These are looking more like collard greens in my opinion, that just, you know, need to get fuller, bigger, grow. This, I'm wondering if it's actually a broccoli and not a collard green. Just because the leaves coming out of the center look very different than the leaves coming out of the center of this one. And this one was putting up a floret, which I picked off right here. And now I'm thinking that maybe they accidentally put a broccoli in the pack. And I just picked off a broccoli that was growing, which is breaking my heart because I'm doing this to grow food, not to destroy food. But I'm learning. I wish it would focus. So I kept on looking and I couldn't get any good information on whether that was a collard that was flowering and bolting or whether it was a broccoli that had somehow got misseeded into my collard green pack. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking it was a broccoli that was misseeded into my collard green pack, and I only have 2 collard greens and 4 broccolis. And that broccoli is a different kind of broccoli than the broccoli that I grew from seed. That's why it looks so different from all the other ones. But I did look it up, and it says that if you pluck off the floret of a broccoli, it can send out at least 2 more florets from the side of the plant. So let's pray that that's a broccoli and it sends out another floret, because this is the only broccoli, if it is broccoli, that is producing anything. The broccolis I started in the house are producing nothing, and they may never produce anything because I don't know what I'm doing. That's so sad. If that was a broccoli, that's going to make me so mad. Anyway, trial and error. I've showed you guys this one. Then I've got over here my mustard tender green. I don't know what is going on with this plant. A couple days ago, this plant looked amazing. And now it's like in the middle of the day, this plant looks like crap. Then at night, it looks really good. Can you see how like limp these leaves are? I don't know what is going on with this plant, what it needs, what it doesn't need. There's not a lot of soil in this pot. So once again, I am going to do what probably you should never do as a gardener. I am going to pull the plants out of the pot and put more soil in there, because I'm thinking maybe they're not getting enough soil, and maybe the roots are getting too waterlogged in there with all the rain, and that's what's happening, because it's definitely not a lack of water, because this soil is very wet. But these pots, I noticed they hold a lot of water at the bottom, and I'm thinking those roots are waterlogged and they're just like too low in there. So I'm going to pull these out, add more soil, and put them back in. And I'm hoping it's a waterlogging issue, because it's definitely not a lack of water issue. And that plant, when it is looking good, this is the most beautiful plant on my balcony. I just love these mustard tender greens, and I'm very, very upset that they're looking like this. Just a little while ago, before I started filming, these looked great. And now they look like crap. And it's in the 60s here today. I just think that they're waterlogged. This is so wet down at the bottom. We just had a rainstorm, and it's not very windy. I mean, it's just waterlogged. These plants, they're so wet at the bottom. We just have had so much rain. I can't stand it. And then over here, my last pot, I've got basil. My basil started out wonderful, but I am having issues with my basil now too, which is really pissing me off. Once again, this one isn't so waterlogged. But if you can see, my basil has started doing this weird, like, yellowing thing. And what I'm thinking, I'm looking online trying to figure out why the basil would start doing this. And based on the way that I am, oh, look at that, look at that leaf. Shoot! They're just not doing good. These were some of my most beautiful, most prolific plants at first, and they just look horrible. I believe that it is a waterlogging issue. I believe there's just too much water. I mean, even though they're in the fabric pots, it's like if it keeps on raining the way it does, they just don't have a chance to dry out. And I was definitely over-watering at first, and now with all the rain, it's just too much. It's never drying out. We just had rain this morning. As you can see, everything's freaking wet. These pots are just soaking wet. I need to get some more soil in this one too. I may have to pull these babies up and replant them. It's a process. I could be killing every plant doing this, but everything that I've replanted so far seems to be doing very good, and it seems to be doing better than it was before I pulled it up from its original planting and replanted. But yeah, with this one, I think that it is an iron deficiency. I could be wrong, but I think it might be iron. I looked at the mixture of fertilizer that I'm mixing up, and I don't see any iron in it. So I'm going to get some chelated iron and incorporate that until I can get the Trifecta Plus from my gardener. I looked at his blend, and I really like everything that's in his blend. It seems to cover all bases. Micronutrients, macronutrients. I mean, what I'm mixing now has like no iron in it. So yeah, that could be an issue because that looks like it needs some iron. I don't know what's going on with those mustard greens. My goodness. I'm just hoping that by getting some more soil in here, lifting those roots up some, not having them sitting at the very bottom of that pot where it's completely waterlogged. Obviously for these, because it's raining, there's water collecting at the bottom of these. So I'm going to have to lift the pots and dump these out so that it just doesn't stay soaking wet down there. But that's the beauty of having the thing down there. Yeah, but that's what I got going on. Oh, look. I got a pepper coming on my California Wonder Pepper there. Hopefully I'll get some pepper production. Oh, I forgot to show you guys. For onions, I planted some onions in this bed too. I don't know if these onions will produce at all. I just sporadically threw them in here. There's one in there. I don't know if you guys can see that one. But yeah. Oh, there's one right there. Can you see it? There it is. Yeah. So I just sporadically place onions throughout the garden. Oh, and over here in the lettuce, I did seed some lettuce in between the lettuces that I had. So you can see I've got some lettuces germinating there. I don't know what kind they're going to be. But I just kind of threw some in there in a little row, and then I've been thinning them out. I am planting them kind of dense because I eat a lot of lettuce. I love salads, so I have a couple more back there. And I just wanted to make sure I had enough going on. I was going to do a lettuce crate tower. Maybe I still will. I don't know. If I do a lettuce crate tower, maybe I'll do it there, and I'll just put 2 more fabric pots here. Also, these fabric pots are 7-gallon pots, not 5-gallon pots. I went with 7-gallon pots. I found a sale on them. Really good deal. So I just decided to go with those. And the under plastic pieces are, I think there's 17-inch plastic rounds that I had to buy from Lowe's. My local garden center did not have large enough ones. Weirdly enough, I thought the garden center would have more than like Walmart and Lowe's, but I found that I have to go everywhere to find everything that I need. But that's it. That's my garden. I'm getting ready to do some digging and some planting, replanting. So I've got my materials here to get ready to do that. And then in this container here, which I need to dump the water off of. Whoops, there we go. Sorry, downstairs neighbors. I just have some more soil, and that's how I'm going to fill up these pots. So I keep that. Right now, this is still pretty... Nah, I need to add some more water to that. Actually, I might not, because I think we're supposed to get more rain. And I just watered this down, so as I get further down, it's a little bit more moist, so I may just turn it over and add that. It's not really clumping together the way it needs to, though. I just would hate to add so much water to it when part of my problem is I want to get this in there to unwaterlog the plants. Anyway, I've done enough talking, I think. That's my garden. I'll come back and give y'all updates, let you see how everything's growing, what I change. But, you know, get out there, start a garden with whatever space you have. I believe that the depth of this is just short of 6 feet, and the width is 12 feet. That's why I got the 8-foot bed, and I was able to get the 2 pots on the sides because that's 12 feet in length. But my depth is less than 6 feet. But I mean, for not a lot of space, I figured out how to grow quite a bit of food, growing upward, trellising. Of course, if I get crates, I can do a lettuce crate tower. I can next year do that and utilize the beds for something other than lettuces. Although I do have to say that they're doing great where they are now, considering the weird temperatures. Wow, look at that big fly. Ew. I need bees, not flies. Anyway, signing off, y'all. Bye. Poor baby.